This is Express Radio.
Ar-lein ar Uniwaves.
Ac ar Express byw. Dyma
Express Radio.
Hello everyone, welcome to Be the Change on Air. Today I am joined by two very special guests, and they're the first ones to be back on the show, so I'm super excited to have them here today. I have AJ and Matilda with me, and they are the LGBTQ plus officers. They have different titles, but we're going to group you together that way, as I did in the last episode. Unfortunately, when I had them the last time, the radio system didn't record the episode, so I get to have them back and hear about the work that they've done since then, because that was a couple months ago. So there's more to update you all on, and we're going to do a little bit of a recap so they can explain all of the things they've been doing throughout the whole past year. So let's go ahead and dive in. I want you both to introduce yourselves. Of course, I've met both of you, but who wants to get started?
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
No, I'll go first,
Okay.
otherwise I won't. Hi guys, so I'm Matilda. I'm the LGBTQ plus officer in the open category. I study French and Italian at Cardiff, and yeah, love working with AJ.
Perfect. And AJ?
I'm AJ. I do journalism and communications. I'm the LGBTQ plus trans officer. I'm one half of the duo that is the officers.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, I actually have talked, when I did my sabbatical officer episode, they were like talking about you as the dynamic duo. They literally used those words. So I was like,
Oh, we keep saying that as well. I think we've coined the term.
It's
now
become our
people have to
brand,
say
I
it.
think.
Yeah.
you guys are putting it in everyone's minds. So tell me about the process for both of you to want to first run for these positions and then become these positions. Tell me about that background for you guys and kind of the journey to this position.
Yeah, of course. Should I go first? Because I, chronologically,
Yeah,
I was
technically
officer
you
first.
came first.
So, spring elections happen every March, I would say.
Mhm.
And so you have to nominate yourself by beginning of February or something. So this was last year. I knew I wanted to be involved with something in kind of student politics and the SU, but I hadn't done anything like it before. I wasn't involved in any of the like associations or, I don't know, in the student senate. Anyway, so I called my dad and I was like, oh, look, there's all these things. I was like, I could be the ethical officer or like the LGBTQ officer or, I don't know, women's officer. And he was like, you really need to make your mind up on like what you're actually passionate about. And I was like, that's a good point. So yeah, I ran for LGBTQ officer because although Cardiff is quite like a friendly city, there was lots of things within the city itself and the university that I thought could be improved for queer students. And yeah, ran unopposed. So I was elected and that was fun. And then we had some training that summer and I was sort of putting some ideas together for the rest of the year. And it wasn't until this academic year in September, October that I then met AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think no one ran for trans officer in the spring elections, so they reopened it for by-election. And I'd actually nominated myself and written a manifesto in second year, but I pulled out because I didn't want to. I think I got a bit scared because obviously being the trans officer means that everywhere you go, everyone knows you're trans, and I wasn't quite ready for that.
Yeah.
But then at the start of third year, I was like, oh my god, I'm going to graduate, I haven't done anything, I should just do it. So I panic applied. I was actually in America at the time, and they were like, okay, start campaigning. I was like, oh no, I'm on holiday. But I came back, and I won by one vote, which I'm still not over.
And can I just say, I didn't vote, but I nearly voted for the other person.
Yeah, so literally, thank you, Matilda, for not voting.
Lazy and I didn't.
Yeah, but so I got elected, met Matilda in late October, November, and then we just started going. We wanted to get certain things done by December, and surprisingly, we managed to get quite a lot of stuff done this year.
And I remember I looked your manifesto up because when you did win, I was actually really excited because I feel like I'd seen you around. You're a bit of a beanock on campus.
Thank you.
And I was like, oh yeah, AJ seems cool, and we have similar kind of plans, ideas, things in our manifesto. So that was really exciting that we had a shared vision. And then we met up in Costa. Yeah. And it was like we were going on a first date because
Yeah.
we
So
see this photo that
nerve-wracking,
you don't.
yeah.
And I was like, oh god, what should I wear?
I feel like I was meeting you on Tinder. Like I was like, hey,
Honestly,
hey.
yeah.
It was awful.
And I was like, hey, are you AJ? Because obviously, like, I don't know. It was a funny meeting. But we got on next day, and like, it wasn't, you weren't as scary as I thought you'd be.
No, thank you. But a lot of people say that. They think they say they're really intimidated by me, and then they meet me and they're like, you're literally harmless. But you know what? I'll take it. I'm glad people find me intimidating. Like, that's fun.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. So tell me about the year so far. I guess not so far. You guys are coming to the end of it, which is kind of scary.
I know.
We'll talk about those feelings after. But tell me about what you've worked on this year, how this has been for you. Give me the whole scoop. I know that's a lot. So.
Yeah. Do you want to go, AJ?
Yeah, so we started off kind of trying to just figure out what to do. We set the ball rolling for Q, our club night, in like mid-November, but I remember we didn't manage to get any meetings until like really like
Until the last week before
yeah,
Christmas.
like right before
Yeah,
Christmas. I was really hesitant to like book my flight home because I was like, oh my god, like what if I miss this meeting? But we set that up with venues. And then that's been running since the start of February.
And to be honest, that was our main priority, wasn't it? We sat down, we were like, had this notes going, like, what are we going to do now? And the club night was always the main.
And it happened so efficiently that then we were like, oh god, okay.
We were expecting a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
Because it probably requires quite a lot of funding. It's like lots of different teams involved, venues, Marcoms. And it's sort of something that we've started as officers, but it's now not with, the campaign officer group, would you say? We passed it on to the
Venues
unity.
has adopted it, so next year it's going to be running even though neither of us are here.
Yeah, so hopefully, like, in 10 years' time it will still be going.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
But yeah, it was quite a big pitch. We were like, we want you to do this.
Uh-huh.
And we were not expecting them to be as helpful as they were. They were actually amazing, weren't they?
Yeah, no, they literally were like, okay, we'll pay for everything, don't worry about the money.
They were like,
Show up.
money is no object whatsoever.
Have a good time. Tell us what the branding is. We'll do whatever you want. If you don't like something, we'll change it. So sometimes, like, we'll email them and be like, we would really like some more decorations. And Phil will be like, okay, how do fairy lights sound? We're like, oh, great,
It
we
is
love
like
fairy
the
lights.
ideal situation in that we have like the creative direction, I would say.
Yeah.
We have none of the
I feel like we're
responsibility.
putting on the Met
We push
Gala.
tickets and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes down to actual, stats of who came and who didn't and drink prices and, things that if you were running your own event externally, you'd have to think about, we kind of avoid that responsibility. So it's
we get the
it's very
best of
fun.
both worlds. And then other than Q, we have been like a part of the Rainbow Laces stuff. We did a lot of History Month things.
Loads of History Month things.
Yeah, anytime a SAB does something to do with like LGBTQ stuff, they'll copy us into it. I'm trying right now, I'm lobbying to get the Vice Chancellor, Wendy, who we all heard from this morning. I want her to put a pride flag up on one of the university main building flagpoles, but I also want her to put a trans flag up because everyone hates trans people at the moment, and I think it would be good. And we're doing like an ID card campaign.
Campaigning for Pride.
Yeah,
At the moment.
campaigning for Pride funding. Yeah, fun fact. But yeah, so we're just kind of tying up loose ends and setting Joe and Talon, our next officers, up as well as we possibly can.
Yeah. We're working on also with Claire Morgan, the Vice Chancellor, like a student staff panel to discuss, because they have their own staff group where they discuss like LGBTQ issues. And I think there's a student group as well within the university. I know there are like LGBTQ student champions and stuff who do coffee mornings. But at the moment there's a bit of a disconnect between SU officers and then university staff. So trying to kind of bridge that gap and see what we can do together.
Claire's so great as well. She's so on it. Like, she came to the LGBTQ showcase. She remembered
it. We had the Estlers last week, the Enriching Student Life Awards, and we won, which was great.
Wait, pitch yourselves. Talk about the award and stuff. Do it really
well.
quick.
So we were nominated and then shortlisted for the Champions for Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Award.
Full transparency, we sat opposite each other and nominated
We did nominate each other. I was like, AJ is so amazing, so inclusive, and then you were like, Matilda does this.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's less deserved.
Exactly. I was just glad they put us together, because obviously we were nominated separately, and I was so scared that we were going to be against each other.
Yeah.
But then in the shortlisting,
I was like, I'll boo you.
Yeah. And then in the shortlisting,
we're still obviously that
they put
dynamic
us
duo.
together.
Yeah.
So it was
I'll jump
great.
to the hip. But we yes, there was each category had 3 people or 3, I don't know, groups shortlisted. There weren't many duos or groups, but there were a couple. And I think this received, was it 1,400 nominations?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
That's so exciting.
anyone involved in the university is eligible to be nominated. So students, staff, and it's
Anyone.
the students' union and the university working together. So it was a really good awards night.
Yeah.
We had really inspiring people, and it was really interesting to hear people's speeches. There was one lady, Sean
Morgan Lloyd.
Lloyd.
She does Welsh.
At JOMET,
She's
yeah.
in charge of the Welsh language at JOMET.
She won about 4 times.
Yeah.
She lived on that stage, and then she ran out of things to say. She was like, "It's me again."
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah, I
she
love that.
collected 4 awards
She's-
at the end of the
yeah,
night. I was
yeah.
happy with our one. It was so terrifying.
AJ gave a hilarious speech.
Yeah.
And because I didn't think of anything like going up to, I honestly didn't think we would win.
Yeah.
And I guess you were a bit more positive.
Well, it's because I saw Michaela, VP Postgrad, at the AU ball, and I was like, they had no idea. So basically, they normally tell the sabbatical officers who have won, but they couldn't tell them because they knew the Sabs really wanted us to win. So the Sabs had no idea who was winning. They had no clue. But Michaela, I just said to Michaela, I was like, with the Estlers, is it kind of cheers, thanks, or is it a longer speech? And she was like, prepare something, because what if you win and you're
Just in
up on
case.
stage in front of all of the university staff and you haven't thought of something
and you have
to
the
say?
opportunity to say something.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I didn't get that nugget of information, so I didn't come up with anything. And I was going to just say the quick, like, thank you, well done together, nominees. But when I saw that you'd written something that was quite inspiring, I'd say. It was funny, and it was covered all the bases of thanking everyone and talking about trans rights. I was like, you have the stage, and I will just stand here.
Tell me more about what you said, AJ. Now I want to know. You guys.
I'll see if I can find it on my notes. But
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that, like, I didn't want to be too bolshy and kind of get up there and be like, burn the system down, because the system is how we got our awards. So
Exactly, yeah.
I'm not going to complain. But also, I didn't want to waste an opportunity and just stand up there and be like, this is so great, thank you. Because, you know, I think I said...
And can I just say, the table right in front of the stage had all the like main players.
Yeah.
Like CEO of the SU,
Oh, wow.
had the like vice chancellors, had the actual chancellor of the university, who's Baroness someone. I don't know what her name is.
Yeah.
But kind of, you know, the VIPs.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was
Yeah. I did, my like first part was like, thanks everyone, this is so great, la la la. And then my second part I said, it seems silly that I have to reiterate this, but trans people are just people, we need to be allowed to exist. Let trans people be, and do us a solid and read a book about it. I mean, you're academics, you've probably written your own, which definitely went somewhere. And take care of your trans students, friends, co-workers, and just be nice to trans people because no one else is.
No, I like the bit you said, take care of your trans students, friends, co-workers, enemies,
Yeah.
and strangers. I was like, exactly, yeah, that's the thing. It's
take
like,
care of your trans enemies, treat
yeah,
them
be nice to
nicely.
people you
And also
know and...
be enemies with them because they're bad people, not because they're trans.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
I'm, you know.
And also you said like, I'm just going to quote my favourite trans person. And everyone's like,
Myself.
oh, and you were like, yeah, myself. And I was honestly really expecting you to say some kind of like historical, like, like a really famous, moving quote, and you were just like,
Me.
I think this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to talk for myself. Because I was like, well, clearly they like what we have to say because we've just won an award. So,
Talking of trans icons.
yeah, like
here
surely,
I am.
surely they want to hear from the people who won.
Yeah. And then, but anyway, at the end of the award ceremony, we had so many congratulations from important people in the room.
Yeah, oh my god.
And Claire Morgan, like you said, who was so lovely. She came up to us and she was like, so well deserved, like, loved
She
your
gave me a
speech.
hug. I
And
was
she
so
recognised
excited.
as well our incoming officer, Joe, who was there. Because like you said, Claire Morgan came to the
Showcase.
LGBTQ showcase, and Joe, who's the officer next year, performed in, I want to say, 6 numbers
Oh my god.
Yeah.
in the showcase.
Wow.
He does everything. He does a
He does
cappella,
a
musical
cappella, yeah,
theatre,
yeah.
dance, all of these
Yeah.
things. And she recognised, I just thought she's so like genuine, you know, and she
Yeah.
actually cares about the students.
It's really good form. I really like Claire.
Yeah.
But the Essence was really fun. I was so terrified. The women's officer Daisy got a video of us. She was like covertly filming because if we didn't win, she was just going to delete the video and pretend it
We
didn't
were like
happen.
5 minutes before they announced it.
But
as
we
well,
were.
I'd say, like,
I was sat there, and you can actually see me looking like I'm holding back vomit. Like I was sat there, just like
yeah.
scared.
You look disgusting.
Oh, it was awful.
I was biting my nails, and when I concentrate, I do this thing where I like blink my eyelashes quite a lot. What's it called? Like
You
anyway,
like flicker.
I looked like I was having a seizure.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it was
It was not good.
It was anyway. haven't posted that video. Because...
I'm glad that video didn't get on the social media. Like,
Okay,
I cut it. I was like,
But anyway, great night all round.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I would just say to any Cardiff Uni students, nominate people for the ESLAs.
yeah,
Because, you know, it's a really great award ceremony, really great night, but I don't think people know about it as much as they could. And because I mean, there's so many things. There's like the SMVAs and the AU awards and stuff. And
there's
it's
so many
important to-
lecturers that I know that in retrospect, like they deserve to be nominated.
Because you can nominate like student rep of the year and personal tutor of the year. So when people go above and beyond, I think it's really important to recognise that.
Yeah. Also, it's a nice, like, for the staff, you know, being a lecturer is not the easiest job in the world, and it probably makes them feel a bit better about doing their jobs.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
why
so
wouldn't you want that? You know.
So true. Oh, good plug. But that was awesome. You guys answered so much. So tell me about how you're setting up the position for next year. Tell me about the officers that are coming in. Give me just kind of a future looking at this role. And then we'll talk about what you guys are doing as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But tell me about these positions, who's coming into them, and how are you setting it up for them?
So I'm really excited for our officers next year.
Yeah, they're
We've
so
got Joe
great.
and Callan who are incoming.
Yeah.
And this is the first year in, I think, 4 or 5 years the trans officer role has been filled in the spring elections.
Yeah.
Usually someone, like, people don't put themselves forward, or they do and then they withdraw, and it's usually done in a by-election. So it's a really good sign, I think, that actually all the positions were filled.
Yeah.
All the campaign
And
officer
also,
roles.
Talon used to come to our like events at the start of the year. They're so sweet. I'm so
So sweet.
like, I love them. And I was like, oh, you should run for trans officer. And they're like, no, I'm terrified. Like, I'd never do that. And then seeing their little name on the ballot,
yeah,
it was just like, oh yes.
so heartwarming.
Yeah, they're the best person ever. So Joe and Talon are like, I couldn't think of better people.
No, and I think they have, they are kind of part of different communities in that they, just different societies and things. But I think that will work really well in running events and things next year. It's so helpful to have like a partner to do it with. And I think some of the other campaign officers are jealous because they're like,
that's
it's
true.
so,
That's
you
true.
know, whenever we run events, even if nobody turns up, or for the first 10 minutes nobody turns up, you're not stood there on your own. We just like have a chat together.
Yeah, it's so nice.
So, yeah, they've got that to look forward to. I think they'll do really well.
Yeah, that's so exciting. And it's kind of a full circle moment, like you were saying, Talon coming to your events and then seeing their name on the ballot. That's just, that's so good. I think that you guys inspired that position as well, and I'm sure that you inspire lots of people based on your awards, and just everything that I've heard about your guys' work this year has been nothing but glowing reviews. So amazing. Tell me about next year for you guys. What are you doing after this year? Is that scary? Tell me about what's next.
I mean, I'm graduating,
Yeah.
which
Scary.
is horrifying, to be completely honest. I've been applying for jobs in Cardiff. I was originally going to go do a master's in Berlin, but then it was really expensive. And I went to Berlin, I was like, this is great, but I don't want to live here. And then for about 2 seconds, I thought about moving to London, but then I was like, no.
It's no Cardiff.
Yeah.
I feel like Cardiff just grows when you over the years.
If you're going to be in a UK city, why wouldn't you be in Cardiff?
Yeah.
Like, it's lovely.
It's
and
so nice.
yeah, so I've just been applying for jobs, like, doing my own thing. I'm trying not to be bothered about it, because I'm like, something good will come. But then at the same time, can it please come fast?
Can I just say
Because
to
I would like a place
anyone
to live.
listening who's hiring, AJ is
Yeah.
like, you are the most accomplished person I know. Your CV, every time I go on Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, AJ's doing a new thing. Like, I didn't realise you worked as a photographer, like
Yeah.
a genuine, I knew you did like social media things, but then it's just amazing when you, I don't know, you're just one of those people who seems to
Well, I had a job interview today, so hopefully
Did
that
you?
went well. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really scary, but it was fine. I kind
Fingers
of hate
crossed.
job interviews, but also like,
I kind of love them because you just talk about yourself.
that's the thing. It's like the exam I've been studying for my entire life.
Anyway, and then I'm doing my year abroad next year, so I'm going to France.
So
I'm
lucky.
working in a Catholic school for like 3 to 10-year-olds. Will be interesting. And then I'm going to Verona and I'm studying for like 6 months.
Sounds so good.
It will be fun. I'm a little bit nervous about the whole like a visa stuff and like living in a small town.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. And then coming back to Cardiff for my final year. Probably stay a bit longer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So exciting.
I think Cardiff's such a good place to, like, when you've just graduated or you've just left uni or something and like you're finding your feet. Cardiff's cheap, small and
Beautiful
friendly
as
enough
well, like
that you can struggle with money and like looking at rent in London, it's £250 a week for like a cardboard box.
Or Bristol. It's
Yeah.
like,
It's
down the road, and,
It's
like,
so
how-
expensive,
yeah,
but
yeah.
Cardiff, it's cheap enough that you have enough time to kind of figure out what you need to do. But yeah, are you going back to America?
I am also job hunting right now. I
Lovely.
actually figured out that based on my visa stuff, when you said visa stuff, like, makes me cringe. But I figured out with visa stuff that I actually have to have a part-time job until September 25th, because technically that's
Really?
still in term time for master's programs, which is really stressful because it's like
God.
up to 20 hours a week. So yeah, as far as like money, it puts everybody in a really tricky spot, which is
Yeah.
not great. But yeah, so looking for part-time jobs. I'm in the AJ boat there. But I don't know where I'm going to go next. I think I'm going to do the graduate visa because I just loved being here.
Yeah.
And I so get you when you were saying Cardiff like really grows on you. I
we
just
love
think
having
it's-
you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also Cardiff's small enough that you create such a powerful and like strong community. Like
Yeah.
I walk around and I know everyone and I trust everyone and like
It's
but
not
there's
about you being a B-knock.
yeah, exactly. But there's still so many like new things and new people to meet. And
Yeah.
I like that. Like for example, if I went to the club by myself, like I'd end up seeing people I knew. And that's nice in terms of safety. And also knowing that like, you know, if I was in London and I was lonely, like oh, okay, what am I gonna do? Whereas in Cardiff it's like there's enough people
Yeah.
around that you can just kind of go and sit somewhere and be like, okay, I'm surrounded by people. This
Talking
is
of
nice.
clubbing on your own,
Yeah.
if you like silent discos and you're free this Saturday,
Yes.
come along to Q,
It's our
our
last
final
one.
event of the
Yeah.
year.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be massive, I think.
Yeah.
We're so excited.
I can't believe it's silent disco.
I
That's so
love
exciting.
silent
It's
disco.
so
I'm
Yeah.
like, so it wasn't even my idea. Who
Phil
was it?
gave it to us as a gift.
I'm just obsessed with silent disco. You know when there's like YOLO full building takeover, no one leaves the silent disco, like
Yeah, you're in the queue at like
I-
8 waiting to get
the
in.
queue. Anyway, and you know tickets are cheap. I think they're £4 currently. But I wouldn't risk buying one on the door because
You never know.
it's gonna be a busy night.
And again, I'll say like massive kudos to the venues team because I sat down for a meeting with them and they were like, "We have a surprise for you," and I was like, "Oh God, what is it?"
Yeah,
And they were like, "We're gonna give you the silent disco for free as your last queue thing,"
my
and we
God.
were like, "Okay, like that's lovely."
exciting.
That they
That's
kind of never do that, and
yeah,
you know, I think it's such a testament to how great the whole team have been
yeah,
with
yeah.
all of it that they
And how
just,
much
like,
they care about it and they
Yeah.
want it to go well for us. Like,
They've already booked out days where queue are going to be until December. That's
so exciting.
insane.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I
You
know.
guys really are handing the next officers so much to like build on.
Yeah.
I think that's so
Yeah.
exciting. That's gonna be.
I think that's the point, though, isn't it? To
Yeah.
like leave a bit of a legacy,
Yeah.
and because if every year people are having the same struggles,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you doing? And that's kind of why I ran in the first place, because there was an LGBTQ officer, like there were two actually, who were like in term, and I was like, and do you put events on? And
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
campaign for things? And you know, they did, but just not necessarily in a way that I noticed.
I really
So-
wanted the role to be more political again. I think
Mhm.
people forget with the students' union that it is a union, and the whole point of the union is to like protest things. And I mean, like we haven't been kind of barricading doors and things like that, but like the officers this year we've been, you know, like just now the Palestine encampment's gone up, and
Yeah.
all of the campaign officers were like, "That's so awesome! What can we do to
What
help?"
can I send?
Yeah, like, and I want the role to become that again. Like, I went along now with some of the like craft stuff from our budget, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, this is a gift from the campaign officers, and like I want the role to continue doing that, and I know it's gonna be fine because Talon is like, they didn't come to the results of the election because they were at a protest, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
this is good. The role's gonna
In
be
safe
fine.
hands. Yeah, I think that's important to remember because our union is beautiful. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
I
we've
love
got
it here.
the pub, we've got the shops, like
Yeah.
club stuff. But yeah, people I think do forget sometimes like what a union is
Yeah.
and like what we're here for.
Yeah, like when you're looking at the writer strikes that were happening in America, it's like that was a union.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we are in the same league.
But
of
also
people doing
actually, what was I gonna say? I don't know.
No.
Do you ever get that like
Yeah.
all the time?
The most
Sorry,
profound
so
thought
forgetful.
comes and nothing.
What was I
Yeah.
gonna say? Anyway, it'll come back to me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it'll come back. But I kind of learned that when I talked with Michaela, because she was talking about how she's been campaigning and she's
Yeah.
excited to continue it. But I didn't realize like the PhD students not being paid
Mm-hmm.
by
Oh,
some of
yeah,
the
yeah.
schools, and that was just so interesting. So I was like,
Yeah.
that's actually like proper.
I'd
She's
say
amazing.
I've learnt the most from Michaela
Michaela
out
is
of everyone I've
powerhouse,
ever
yeah.
met. Like
Yeah.
She's But they all are. I mean, Deo, what he's done for like Welsh language stuff.
We are the first Welsh uni to
Andy,
get.
anyone.
Yeah,
like they're all.
We're the
incredible.
first uni in Wales to get accredited with this like
Got it.
thing, basically
Yeah.
saying we are progressive in helping the Welsh language, and like we're the first SU to have that in
Yeah.
Wales, and like that's thanks to Deo. They're all the Sabs are so smart
passionate about
and
what they
passionate
do.
about their things. Like Michaela, just anything about any type of working class rights, like PhD, PGR. She knows. Like
Yeah.
they all work insanely hard. It's been such a pleasure to like learn from them this year.
What I was gonna say was also campaigning like against the uni.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of why the SU was set up. Was
Yeah.
like to challenge the universities.
They challenge
rulings on
the
things.
uni.
Yeah, and so I think Michaela is a great example of
Yeah.
doing that.
Her petition.
Nathan as well for like international students.
Yeah.
Yeah, housing things from Michaela.
Yeah.
Everything. Which kind of brings me on to Pride Month
Yeah.
in June.
Yeah.
Cardiff Pride is the 22nd and 23rd, I believe.
Yeah.
And last year, the university and the SU had like a sort of joint collaboration. They had a space in the parade. There was a breakfast, and there was staff, students, officers, and we all went together as like
Yeah.
a show of unity.
This year we've pledged money from our leftover budget. We basically get like a special pot every year, and we all sit in offices and we say, "Can we have £200 for this?" And they go, "Oh my god, yeah!" And this year we put the rest of it towards Pride, and the uni went, "We don't have room in our budget."
Apparently, the university have lost the money in their
don't
budget.
have the money,
Um,
so we might not be in Pride this year, which I think is a massive step back.
I agree.
I'm-
I think
And also, honestly, like, I understand budget stuff. We are in a cost of living crisis, but first of all, like,
this is a minuscule amount of their
9,000,
budget, you know.
£9,000 a year for UK students,
Yeah.
more
I
for
mean,
internationals.
they make millions.
And
in that,
also,
so-
this is a year where trans and queer people have been like ostracised,
Yeah,
and
of course.
coincidentally, the year that you've lost some funding, like
Yeah.
that is a horrible look, and I'm absolutely ashamed,
Same.
genuinely. And like, big up the SU for having a much smaller budget and being a charity, and they were like, "Of course, we're putting the money towards this. This is important." And yeah, so
but
I
especially
really-
when you think like the first Cardiff Pride was started by a load of university
yeah,
students.
it was
It was
started
the
by
Cardiff Gay and
the
Lesbian
Gay and
Society
Lesbian
just
Society.
went on a march,
Yeah.
you know, and I think it's regressing,
Yeah,
not
so
progressing.
If you're
in a way we
annoyed about
like.
this, keep an eye on our social media, because we will
Yeah.
probably be trying to figure out a way to get the money.
Yes.
So let us know.
So hopefully that will still go ahead in some capacity, because we'll be there whatever happens.
I was trying to look at what t-shirt I should wear. I was like, I was looking on like Etsy for like subtle trans t-shirts,
Yeah.
because I like
That's fun.
I wanted to wear something fun but not like a huge trans flag. I just
Yeah,
wanted to wear
yeah.
something cool, and then coming in and they're like, "Yeah, you haven't got the funding." I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What if I paid
So, I
30
mean,
quid for a
luckily-
t-shirt?"
Well, we're sort of putting together a program of events for Pride Month for June,
Yeah.
and luckily we hadn't, published anything and said like, this is what's going on.
Yeah,
But we will be there in some capacity.
Yeah.
And
even if it's just in
even
the
if it's
streets.
without the university and without their support,
Yeah.
Obviously the union will be.
Yeah. And also, like, we are trying with Pride Month, I really want to emphasise the, like, strength of the Cardiff community. So, even though we'll be doing stuff, I really want to push people to, like, the Queer Emporium, an incredible place. We're so lucky to have that. Like, there's a organisation, Black Girl Space, it's just opened a branch in Cardiff. Like, I really want to push people to, like, find pride in their community. So I'm going to start asking people soon to, like, put in a form of like their favourite queer businesses or queer safe places, and I want to, like, during Pride Month, like, advertise it and just be like, the SU's great, but we kind of did our thing. We've done History Month, like, we're going to be there, we're going to run events, but if you don't feel represented by
It's about
the
uplifting
SU,
everyone,
yeah,
isn't it? And then,
everyone deserves to have pride in how they identify, so we're going to show off everyone, basically.
Yeah.
That's kind of the plan.
I love it. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Thanks.
Yeah, everyone needs to stay tuned. I'll get you to plug the social media at the end of
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
because everyone needs to follow. So I'm going to ask the last question again. Lots of young people want to create change, want to make a difference, but they may not know how to get started with that work. What advice do you have for those people who may be listening or watching?
I would say just start.
Yeah.
It's obviously easier said than done, but I think starting, in whatever capacity is the first thing to do, whether that's sending an email or joining a group or creating your own thing, like you've created this podcast, like starting an Instagram account where you
Yeah.
post political things, or whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to start your own podcast, if you want to start your own
Just do
YouTube
it.
channel, just do it. And everyone goes to that kind of cringe bad stage. Like anytime you start a new hobby or whatever,
Yeah.
it's a bit daunting, but you just got to push through that. And
And also remember that, like, I've been thinking
everyone's
about,
been there.
I've been thinking about it a lot with all the stuff that's been happening recently with, like, Gaza and the Met Gala and trans rights and going on social media. There are going to be history books written one day, and our kids are going to be doing their GCSEs and learning about stuff, and I think it's so important to be able to say, yeah, I was there, I did that, you know, even if it's like small things, like I was educated on it. Like, people underestimate the value of education, because I remember being like 16 and suddenly, like, I was very, very privileged growing up, so the ball dropped very late for me that capitalism was evil. But once I learned that, like, my entire perspective on the world changed. And just read, just learn stuff. Like, you don't have to read like this massive book. Just learn about what you like and then do something about it. But also, there's so much power in passive activism. Like, I think people underestimate, I'm using the encampment again as an example, like, you can go there, you can camp overnight, you can do that, you so can, but also, if you're in a conversation about it and you go, yeah, I saw it, it's really cool, that's activism.
But also, I don't know who started the encampment, but somebody clearly had that idea, put it together, and just, you know,
and there
went
are
for it.
also, if you've ever had a thought,
and it's turned
other
into such
people
a big
have
thing.
it too.
I mean, we got a message from Wendy
today being like,
saying this is what's going on. So people do notice when you try and make changes.
And what matters is people might like, no one's gonna laugh at you for trying to make a change. People will laugh at you for having the opportunity to and doing nothing about it. Like, in retrospect, if there was a huge trans pride thing going on and I was like, I can't really be bothered to go, that is more embarrassing than trying to start a trans pride thing and no one's showing up.
Don't try to be cool. I feel like there's the whole
there's nothing cool about not being...
about not caring.
Yeah.
That's what we love about the campaign officers. Everyone is so
Everyone
passionate.
cares.
And like meeting up with people who, have passions and interests is so much nicer than people who just like pretend they don't care about everything.
Yeah,
you know?
like people who are like, oh, it doesn't really involve me. How? Like, what? And also with any type of activism, also remember when you're like making changes and just, it's okay to like take a bit of a break sometimes. Like, after History Month, we both definitely had a really passive month of like not really being able to do much, because we'd been working so hard every day that I was like, I literally can't even post on social media and be like, go do this. I just couldn't, and that's okay, because it's better to be genuine than like, and pop up every now and again, than just be disingenuous and post all the time.
I love that. Wow, such great advice. Thank you guys so much. This was so much fun, and now plug the social media channels where everybody can stay up to date with everything, both your personal ones and the officer ones as well, because I know that you'll probably be passing those over too. Right?
Yeah, so fab. So mine is LGBTQ PLUS officer CSU, and I'll just leave it with that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
My officer one is LGBTQ trans CSU, and then my personal is AJ _ Lumley LUMLEY. I never answer my messages. If I have more than one message, I'm like, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So if you pick a really antisocial time to message me, I'll probably answer.
But to be fair, like if you text either of us, then we, hive mind. Like,
Yeah, that's on my
so that's
personal.
kind of-
On my officer account, someone's messaged me 10 minutes later, I'm like, got on it.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Of
Thanks for
course.
having us.
Thank
It's
you
been so
for
fun.
coming again. This was so fun.
Yeah, and congratulations on your like 400
Oh.
different awards that you got.
Yeah.
Thank you.
amazing.
It was so fun, and I couldn't have done it without all of you coming on. It's literally not possible. So thank you guys, and thank you to everyone listening or watching. This will be up on Friday as a podcast episode. Thanks again, and
exciting.
be the change you wish to see in the world. Bye, guys.